Yo, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy. This is our answer to the question, should you watch Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage? We get Nerdy Nightly, and we thought we'd share it with you. That is right. Welcome back to a completely non-spoiler review of Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. There isn't really a 2 in the title, but I feel like I need to say that because it is a sequel to the 2018 movie Venom, maybe? Also starring Tom Hardy as the titular role. This time, Andy Serkis is here to direct the film. He brought his own little sensibility to the movie, but I'm here to tell you, I'm going to spoil my recommendation at the end of the review. I'm going to put it right up front here. If you liked the original Venom, you're probably going to like this, with some caveats. If you didn't like that movie, you're not going to like this movie, because what this film really does is center Eddie Brock, played by Tom Hardy, and Venom, also played by Tom Hardy, and that is the most important relationship in the movie. The entire movie is really about the two of them. Everything else that happens in this film is really secondary to tell a story about the two of them. And because of that, there are things about this movie that are really fantastic. And I'm not going to lie, I really enjoyed it. It's really fun. I think that that Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock brings something incredibly watchable to the screen. He is playing a character that I don't think I like, that I don't think I'm on board with, and yet I want to see him succeed because I'm just genuinely enjoying watching him do things. And I really enjoyed the relationship that he had with Venom and its growth from the first movie, as well as kind of the trials and tribulations that they go through with each other. In service of that story, and in service of the fact that this movie comes in at a really, really curt 97 minutes, I think it is, just over an hour and a half, including trailers. Before we get to anything else, let's stop for 1 second. This is a non-spoiler review. Do not let anyone spoil the mid-credit scene from this movie for you. Do not watch it online. Don't read any of the tweets. All right? If you're not seeing the movie tonight, there's going to be tweets. Don't read them. Experience this mid-credit scene yourself in a theater, biggest screen you can find. The mid-credit scene is unbelievable. It's so cool. And we'll talk about it tomorrow on the spoiler chat. Clarus will be on the spoiler chat tomorrow, by the way. Shout out to that. There's also going to be a special guest, probably, maybe. And if there is, it's going to be fantastic. You should check that out. We're going to talk about all the stuff that I cannot discuss in this review. Do not let anyone spoil the mid-credit scene for you. It's so good. But back to the movie. It comes in a curt 97 minutes. And the positive of that is that it really is focused and it moves and there's no bloat. This movie is, every scene is connected to the main plot and it just keeps you moving, and for that sake it's really fun and you're engaged and you're there and you're on the edge of your seat sometimes, and it's a lot really quickly, and it works. It somehow manages to tell a complete story in that short amount of time, and granted 97 minutes is like is a good movie length. More movies need to be this length. However, what this movie loses because of that short runtime is going to, in my opinion, disappoint fans of the character of Cletus Cassidy and fans of the character of Carnage. We said in a trailer reaction a little bit ago, I was like, God, this is going to be PG-13. You can't have Carnage at PG-13. You just can't. Carnage is bloody. He's visceral. He's a serial killer who has superpowers. And this movie is PG-13. And if you're a big fan of Carnage and of the character of Cletus Cassidy, Woody Harrelson brings it. He really does. I think his performance in this movie is great. There isn't a lot of it, and what there is has to be truncated to fit the narrative that we're telling about Eddie and Venom. And so Cletus Cassidy has to kind of tell a lot of his story really fast in order to help us get the narrative beats for Venom and Eddie to the point that they're getting to within the story. And the same thing happens with Shriek, who I don't want to spoil the plot of that character. It's really interesting. It's probably the most interesting thing about the movie. It's also the thing that doesn't really get fully invested in by the movie because there just isn't time. And so the short run time's nice because, I got in, I sat down, had a quick experience, really had fun, and then I got out. But when I think about the movie after watching it, and when I think about going into a second viewing tomorrow with Clarus, what I think I'm left with is, oh yeah, there's a lot there that I don't feel like I got to be fully invested in. And there's a lot there that the movie plays with the idea of the humanity within Cletus Cassidy and what is there. And those moments are actually like really well handled and cool. And I applaud Andy Serkis for that. He snuck in more depth into this than I think I really expected from a PG-13 Carnage movie. And honestly, for PG-13, he snuck in more Carnage than I expected. It wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't like I wanted like American Psycho. Like I want a real Carnage movie one day, and maybe we'll get it in the future. Maybe we'll get it. But what we got here was close. And was, I think, as close as you can get with that rating, and also had some narrative depth to it. And I really appreciated that, because otherwise I don't think I would have enjoyed this movie very much. But there was enough there that I did. I liked this movie. I had fun. Is it the story that I wanted from these characters, having read them in comics for decades? Not particularly. But as a movie, I think it's a good movie. I just don't think it's a great Carnage movie. You know what I mean? I also think that visually, I wish that they had done more with differentiating Carnage and Venom, because the visual effects of the fights between the two of them are very similar to the visual effects from the first one and the fight between Riot and Venom. And I know I was able enough to see what was going on, but it is a dark, dark, dark scene. And they are very similar visually. And I do wish at the end of the day that we had more than just red accents on Carnage. And I wish that Carnage just stood out a little bit more from Venom instead of just being red Venom. And so the CGI in this movie at times was a little tough. I should also say I saw this in a Screen X screening, which is like the main screen up front, and then the walls are also more screen that are only on sometimes. Don't go see this. Don't give these people money so that they stop doing this. It looks awful because your main screen, like, it's like looking at a 4K monitor up front, and then like the first couple panels on the side are like 1080p, and then the ones here are like 720. And in terms of a viewership experience, it's not great. It's really not, because they turn on kind of randomly throughout the movie. They're not always on. It's not like the movie's projected. It's like additional movie sometimes, and they turn on and it's like blurry. And in the middle of a fight scene, they'll like turn on and there'll be like a tentacle like whipping through to your right. And you're like, oh, cool. Oh, wow, that looks terrible. It looks garbage. And then something important's happened on screen, but you missed it because you watched the garbage tentacle that is absolutely superfluous. Doesn't need to be there at all. Just whipping by your face for no... Oh, God. Don't go see Screen X or 4X or whatever it's called when they have the sides. It's bad. It is not a good way to watch a movie. I want to be immersed. I don't want lights flickering randomly at times, taking me out of it and being like, oh, hey, oh, there's the guy next to me. And oh, yeah, oh, wow, that guy's hanging out with his girlfriend. Like, ugh. I'm excited to see the movie again tomorrow without that, because I think the visuals will be improved by not being distracted by that. Not greatly improved. The visuals could be better, unfortunately. But the actors, I don't think could be. I think they all brought it. And the characters, I really cared about them. I liked them a lot. I really did. I think after 2 movies of this very weird Eddie Brock Venom relationship, I'm fully invested in the two of them. I am. I really love the way they play off each other. And I know that it's Tom Hardy playing off himself, and I'm glad I phrased it that way and not another way, but I'm glad that I care about that relationship, because both of these movies have decided that that is the most important thing in these movies. Or maybe in the first one it was accidental, but this movie, it is the most important thing in the movie. And I'm glad that I like that. If you don't like that, like I said at the beginning of the review, if you don't like that, you might not like this movie. You probably won't. I do. I like that relationship. I think it's weird and wonderful and lovely, and I laughed a lot in this movie. I laughed a lot. I had a good time. Is it my favorite superhero movie ever? No. Is it better than the other Venom movie? Yes. I will say that. I think it is better than the previous Venom movie only because it doubles down on the best parts of the original Venom movie. So it feels like an improvement in the fact that it feels like it is a franchise that is figuring itself out and iteratively improving from one to the next. And if they make a Venom 3, I'm excited. You know what I mean? I don't know. This movie, much like the first one, is very much a story told. But there is an incredible end credit sequence. Who knows? You're going to have to find out for yourself by going to see it. I recommend seeing it in theaters, if anything, for the end credit sequence. It's that good. I think that the end credit sequence, the moment I had with the end credit sequence was worth the price of admission. The audible noise that my body made in the end credit sequence was worth the price of admission. And I am so excited that I already know what it is, because when Clarus and I go to see the movie tomorrow, I'm going to be able to like watch her when she sees what happens, and I'm going to get to have that moment again in like 13 hours. And that's fantastic. I think that's all I have to say about Venom. I didn't name everyone in the cast, but they're all pretty solid. And some of them I don't know their name and I don't have it pulled up. So rather than get people's names wrong, I'm just going to say, if they were in the movie, they're pretty great. I really think the cast brought it. They all really bought into the weird world of this film, and it worked. I think Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson, though, they really played off each other well, and they centered this movie in that their duality, even though they're not opposites at all. Like, at all. But Woody Harrelson would be a good Carnage in a Carnage movie if they ever make one, but he was really good as Red Venom, the bad Venom, in this one. Is that mean? I don't know. He's not Carnage. He really isn't, unfortunately. But he's good, and the movie's good, so I'm fine with it. It's very weird. I thought I was going to be more upset about the fact that he's not Carnage. And he is named Carnage, and he's red, and he kills people, and like whatever, but he's not what I wanted Carnage to be. You know what I mean? He's not what, like, reading Maximum Carnage and Carnage USA and reading the books and the absolute twisted way that Carnage exists within those comics, and how he gets under the skin of Spider-Man and of Venom and other heroes in those books beyond just the physical violence, the mental violence of Carnage. And I think that the duality of those two Carnages is missing from this. And we got a lot of the physical, and we don't get the other, unfortunately. And I guess I'm a little salty about it, because I keep bringing it up. But I like the movie, so it's like, nah. I'm going to talk about it more on the spoiler chat tomorrow. I don't want to get into too much more because I don't want to spoil it. I want you to be able to go into this movie, because I do recommend going into this movie. I think it's good. I think it's about to make a lot of money, because people are going to be talking about the fact that the end credit scene should not be spoiled, and that it's amazing and that you have to go see it, and people are going to go see it just for that alone. But I think that they're going to have a good time in the movie leading up to that, so it's not a bad thing. It's fun. And I think that Andy Serkis's direction brought something else to it that is pretty solid. Yeah. Overall, go see it. The question, should you watch Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage? Yeah. If you like this video, like and subscribe to the channel. We will have a spoiler chat coming out tomorrow with a special guest. Very excited about that. If you don't like this video, hit the dislike button, or go down in the comments below and leave mean comments, because the algorithm god is hungry and we must feed her. As always, you can follow us over on Twitch. I currently am playing over at twitch.tv/nerdynightly. Just started Horizon Zero Dawn. Masterpiece of a video game that is. And I'm still doing my nerdy lock plays of Pokemon. clarusdracarys, spelt right there. That's my wife. She'll be on the spoiler chat, and she is playing through Mass Effect, that Legendary Edition, for the first time. It's been really fun to watch her do that, because she's not good at shooters, and she makes it very entertaining. As always, you can follow us, support us over on Patreon and Fanhouse, /app on both of those sites, or sorry, /nerdynightly on both of those sites, if you want to support us there. And like we always in the video, my name's Nerdy. Do something nerdy tonight, you dang nerds.